I want you to take a moment to recall one specific moment from your life, a moment of perfect, almost painful beauty. Perhaps it was a sunset that took your breath away, or a melody that made your throat tighten and you couldn't understand why. Maybe it was an embrace in which you completely dissolved and the boundaries between I and you disappeared for one precious instant. What was that feeling? It wasn't just joy. It was nostalgia. But a nostalgia for something you seemingly never knew, for a place you had never been, for a state you cannot describe. For many years, I carried this feeling inside me as a kind of personal, peculiar quirk, until I discovered that the greatest minds of humanity, Plato, Plotinus, not only knew of this feeling, but made it the cornerstone of an entire philosophical system. They said, "This longing is not a defect of your perception. It is the most precise compass given to you by nature. It is the voice of your true homeland, carrying through the noise of the world." And today, I want to give you a tour of the most important map I possess. The map of the way home. The map called Neoplatonism. The map, the great chain of being. Most of us live in a world that was shown to them. We were told, reality is what can be touched, measured, weighed, matter. And we built a civilization on this belief. But there have always been those who looked at a mountain and saw not just rock, but majesty. Who looked at the stars and felt not just cold balls of plasma, but the silent call of infinity. Neoplatonism is a bold, radical attempt to describe reality from the inside, from the point of view of consciousness, not matter. It is not just a philosophy, it is spiritual cartography, and its central metaphor is the metaphor of emanation. Imagine. No. Feel this. An absolute nothing which is simultaneously an absolute everything. It is not emptiness, it is overflowingness. An overabundance of being, light, good, beauty, love. It is so perfect that it simply cannot help but pour outward. It does not create the world like a craftsman. It emanates it as the sun emanates light without diminishing itself. And so begins the great chain of being. I will outline it simply for you. The one, the good, the absolute. This is our Sunday, the source. It cannot be described with words, because any word is already a limitation. It is not intelligent, not good, not personal. It is beyond all such categories. It is pure potentiality, the silence from which all music is born. The attempt to think about it is already the first step on the path. 2. The intellect, Nous, the first emanation from the One. If the One is a silent ocean of potential, then the intellect is the first wave that takes form. Here, duality is born for the first time, subject and object, the knower and the known. And what does the intellect know? It knows itself, and in this self-knowledge, the forms, idea, are born. Not abstract concepts, but living, radiant, perfect archetypes of everything. The form of justice, the form of a tree, the form of humanity. This is the world of pure, crystalline thought, where everything exists eternally and simultaneously. 3. The world soul, psyche. From contemplating itself, the intellect, in turn, emanates a new energy, the soul. If the intellect is the genius composer who created the perfect score of the universe, then the soul is the conductor. It is life, movement, time. It takes these unchanging forms and unfolds them into sequence, breathes life into them, organizes matter according to these divine blueprints. And our individual soul is not something separate. We are rays of this great conductor, the world soul. We are not drops separated from the ocean. We are manifestations of the ocean itself at a point in space and time. 4. The cosmos and matter. And finally, the last stage of emanation, our physical world. It is beautiful because it is a reflection, a shadow of those higher worlds, but it is the most distant from the source of light. Matter here is not evil. It is non-being, the ultimate attenuation of the power of the primordial source. It is a place where the soul can become so engrossed in the play of forms, the colors and sounds of the material world, that it forgets. It forgets its radiant nature. It becomes deluded, thinking, I am my body, I am my profession, I am my story. The path home, the 3 stages of ascent. And here we are. Here, in this world of forms, and within us lives this vague memory, this longing. Do you understand? This is not imagination. This is the soul's memory of its true home. Stage 1. Purification for Catharsis. The turn inward. So, we understand that we have forgotten. How do we remember? The path back is the path inward. Plotinus called the first stage Catharsis purification. What do we purify? We purify our perception from false identifications. Most of us say, I am angry, I am afraid, I am a programmer, I am a mother. Neoplatonism invites us to radically shift our perspective. The practice is this. The next time a wave of anger washes over you, try to pause and say to yourself, a feeling of anger is arising in me. But I am not this anger. When fear comes, there is fear in me. But I am not this fear. You are the one who is observing these states. This is not suppressing emotions. It is gaining inner distance. You begin to remove layers from yourself like dirty clothes. The layer of social role, the layer of family history, the layer of traumas and resentments, the layer of physical sensations. You ask yourself the most important question, which has no verbal answer. Who is the one who is observing all this? This is the turn inward. It is the creation of an inner silence, a sanctuary where the noises of the external world cannot reach. And in this silence, you begin to hear for the first time the quiet but persistent voice of your true soul. Not the personality, not the ego, but that very divine spark which is part of the world soul. Stage 2. Contemplation, Theoria, the awakening of vision. When the inside becomes clear, your gaze upon the external world changes radically. The second stage begins contemplation. You no longer just look, you begin to see. You walk through a forest and see not just a tree. You see the embodied form of the tree, its perfect shape, its treeness, its striving for light. You see in it the wisdom of nature, an echo of the intellect. You listen to music, and you hear not just a sequence of notes. You hear mathematical harmony, the geometry of sound, the voice of the universal soul itself, which organizes everything into beautiful proportions. You do your work, baking bread, writing code, building a house, and it becomes an act of service. You strive to embody the most beautiful, the most correct form into matter. You become a co-creator. You look into another person's eyes and see beyond their personality, beyond their masks. That same divine spark, the same soul is in you. And love transforms from attachment into a recognition of a kindred soul in another exile. At this stage, you learn to think like the intellect. You see behind the multitude of things their single, eternal archetypes. The world becomes for you alive, animated, permeated with meaning. Everything becomes a symbol, pointing to its higher cause. Stage 3. Ecstasy, Unio Mystica, the return. And then, after long preparation, after many years of purification and contemplation, a miracle can happen. The third stage. Ecstasy. Not what they show in movies, not hysteria. Ecstasy, a standing outside of oneself, a going beyond the limits of your own eye. It doesn't happen on command. Most often in moments of deep concentration, in meditation, in the contemplation of incredible beauty, and sometimes completely suddenly, in the most ordinary setting. And then, disappearance happens. The observer disappears. The observed disappears. The boundary between me and God is erased. Between me and the tree. Between me and everything. All that remains is pure presence, pure consciousness, pure love. Without an object, without a subject. You do not see the light. You are the light. You do not feel unity. You are this unity. It lasts an instant, on the scale of time a second, on the scale of the soul an eternity. And then the wave recedes. You return, but you return different. You know. You don't believe, you know. As you know the sun will rise. You know that your true self is not this small anxious creature with a passport and a history. Your true self is boundless, eternal, divine consciousness. And this longing, it doesn't go away. But now it becomes not a pain of loss, but a sweet, lingering joy of remembrance and anticipation of return. You understand that home never went anywhere. It was you who turned away from it, and now you know the way. How to live with this knowledge. This is all beautiful, you might say. But I have a job, a family, bills to pay. How do I live with this knowledge in everyday life? Here is the most practical answer I have found for myself. Neoplatonism does not call for retreating to a cave. It calls for transforming your life in the world. Your work becomes your temple, an opportunity to embody beauty, order, and good into matter. To do your work as service, as an act of love for the one manifesting through you. Your relationships become a practice of recognizing the divine in the other. Every meeting is an opportunity to see not the other, but yourself in the other. Your fears and anxieties lose their power. After all, you are not them. They are merely weather on the surface of the ocean of your consciousness. The ocean remains untouched by the storm. Beauty becomes for you not a luxury, but a necessity. Food for the soul. You consciously seek it in art, nature, music, to nourish your memory of home. Silence and solitude cease to be frightening. They become a desired time for a rendezvous with yourself, with that very silent witness within. You begin to live simultaneously in two worlds. In the world of forms, fulfilling your duties, and in the world of spirit, remembering your true nature. This is the secret of the imperturbable peace that all the great mystics radiated. Your turn. And now I want to turn to you, my dear fellow travelers on this path. I have shared with you the most intimate map in my possession. Now it's your turn. Please describe in the comments your signal from home. At what moment in your life did you feel this longing for the real most strongly? Maybe it was a book, a song, a meeting with a person, or just a view from a window. Let's create here, under this video, a unique space, not just a comment section, but a scroll of testimonies, a collection of stories about how the soul remembers itself. Let's prove to ourselves that we are not alone in this search. The final, most important thought. At the end of this long conversation, I want to leave you with one thought. The most important thought in all of Neoplatonism. What you are seeking. That source. That one. That home. You will not find it somewhere outside, in the future, after death. You are seeking it because it is already seeking itself in you. Your longing is its longing. Your love for beauty is its love for its own reflection. Your striving for truth is its striving to know itself through your mind. You are not a lost traveler. You are the path itself. You are the very channel through which the universe becomes aware of itself, remembers itself, and returns to itself. Every conscious breath you take, every moment of compassion, every turn inward, this is not practice. This is the return itself. You are already home. You are just learning to realize it. Thank you for walking this part of the way with me. If this conversation was valuable to you and you want us to continue exploring these depths together, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you don't miss the next meeting. Remember, the greatest journey is the journey inward. See you soon.